double wall. I'll pass this around, you guys can have a look. If you take this heat pipe out, you can shake it and it sounds like there's a marble in there, and that's just a drop of water. Sometimes it'll ting for you and it feels like there's a pebble or marble in the bottom, and it's just a drop of water. So that heat pipe is just an evacuated tube with a drop of water in there, and when it gets really hot inside the double-walled evacuated tube, it boils that water and it goes up to the bulb at the top where it's emitted. But the problem is, most of these ones in China, that there's nothing to protect the water from freezing. So this is the bottom section of one of those heat pipes that I had. So I had two of those collectors with heat pipes outside, and both of them, this one I thought, I didn't know if it would freeze or not, so I just put the heat pipe itself outside, and that's what happened. But then there was some speculation if it was inside the tube that it wouldn't freeze because the tube would insulate it enough. So I have another one that I checked yesterday, and it has the exact same failure.
Did it break the glass?
No, no, and so no, because it's just inside, like inside the glass there.
Yeah, it doesn't contact the glass directly, does it?
Yeah, and the WSE one, it's even held right in the center, whereas that one's held against the wall. That one's a model of an Apricus collector. So Apricus say that they have copper filings in with the water, which somehow prevents this problem from happening. I don't have any full-size ones to try it out. But once that fails, it's almost impossible to tell that it's failed, and it's difficult to fix. So I'm very negative on those evacuated tubes for that reason, as well as the fragile nature of the glass itself. But I put some pros for evacuated tubes. They're semi-transparent when they're aligned as an array, so they'll let some light through. And WSE had some over a hot tub, and I thought it looked really cool. It's sort of like he has here, a trestle or a renda. As long as it doesn't hail on them and you end up with all that glass in the pool. They have lower wind resistance when racked on a roof. Our flat plates are like a big sail if they're not up against a building or something. But I think that freeze protection issue in our climate is almost like it's a non-solvable. I don't think I would install them for a customer in good conscience.
What if they couldn't use alcohol or something?
So some do, and some manufacturers have a different, they have steel at the very bottom of that pipe. This is one that other people, this isn't a concern of mine, but this is a concern I've heard of other people say for the evacuated tubes that they collect frost or snow. So this was taken on this home here. You can see the flat plates are clear. The PV panels were snow covered and the evacuated tubes were. But I expect again, if it gets hot, this will melt off in this case, especially where they're freestanding like that.
Is that a promise that it's going to get hot eventually?
This is an image I found of a system in Banff, and you can see all the silver is, so normally the evacuated tubes are also, they have a selective coating. The sample one I have doesn't. So they're normally blue. And then when they break, you just see the aluminum in them because the blue glass is broken. So this is one in Banff that went through a hailstorm. So you wouldn't want that above your swimming pool. And then I had, so this is that array that we were looking at. This is the guy who was getting 194 watts, so it's 45-degree ground mount. It's kind of interesting. He has a air-to-air heat exchanger. This is his primary source of heat for his house. And then these Enerworks panels do his domestic water as well as some in-ground or in-floor heating. And then he has a resistive heat element in his blower.
That looks like a swamp cooler there, that thing on the ground.
Yeah, that's the air-to-air heat exchanger. It's a heat pump.
Oh, a heat pump, oh, okay, yeah.
This is just another, I just put some examples of wall-mounted ones we did. And so this is what the one in this house what I envisioned it looking like when I first talked to Ron, and that's 4 collectors mounted side by side, and then they're just interconnected, so the interconnection is minimal. Oh, and then the question I get when I do the talk in general about domestic water heating is about how do you get snow. Oh, first, the snow accumulate on your panels, and how do you get it off? And so my answer is yes. This is my solar thermal panel here. Snow does accumulate on it. And this is how I get it off. This is what they call a roof rake. I got it from Home Depot for 40 bucks. And I go on a ladder so that I can reach the ridge, and I pull most of the snow off. I don't get it fully cleaned. These panels, for some reason, had frost on them, as did my thermal panel. And this one here had some snow that's stuck. You can see there's a shadow from the trees across the street covering my house now. And now that shadow has moved right to here. So these ones were still under the shadow while I did my driveway, but the awning was out of the shadow, and now you can see that the awning is totally clear after a couple hours of, I think that last picture was at 12:30, and now it's at 2 o'clock, and the frost is totally off of those. And then this one I took today, and we've had a lot of sunny weather recently without snow, and so you can see 100% clear. The solar thermal panel has some steam or condensation on the inside of the glass a little bit, and it comes and goes depending on how hot it gets. How do I go back?
So with your heat collector on there, the reason you're getting the humidity in there is because it's heat and moisture outside. Is it not, I guess, to make it like a sealed unit system, so that if you use like a tempered glass, that's...
I don't think so, because the heat, the temperature changes in this panel are so extreme, and it's a fair volume in the panel. This one has that airflow anti-stagnation device, which lets humidity in the bottom, but it sort of burns itself off over time too.
Yeah, because normally in like a window, if you get humidity in the window, it will actually etch the glass and reduce productivity of the window.
Yeah, so while this is here, it will be reduced a bit.
But like you get hot enough water will actually burn the glass from the inside.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
And you can get etching in the glass.
Have you seen that?
I just